Good morning, my name is Charles Savage. I'm CEO and founder of EasyEquities. This is one of my favorite quotes because it hints at what might be if we solve this problem. And the problem is that less people than you would ever imagine all around the world, doesn't matter where you look on that globe, own shares directly on their respective stock exchanges. And it's a problem because we all know that the greatest asset in accumulating wealth is shares. And so if we're serious about closing the gap between the haves and the have-nots, then we need to get serious about solving this problem. It's a good problem to solve commercially for businesses. If we close the gap between the developed world, where average retail participation is 11.28%, and the emerging world 3.87%, that's a $9.7 billion revenue opportunity. So there's lots of money, which means there'll be lots of businesses pursuing it. But how do we go about solving something that stockbrokers, asset managers, financial services companies have been trying to solve for decades, if not 100 years? Well, the first rule for us in EasyEquities was we needed to abandon failed strategies, platforms, and approaches. We created a simple rule. If it's been done before, don't do it again. And that's kudos to Einstein that said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. So what are the things that we needed to address? We found three primary friction areas that needed to be abandoned. The first was when you stack up all of the minimums that are prevalent in the industry, minimum trading costs, minimum investment values, minimum platform fees, minimum data fees, minimum, you stack them all up, what you end up with is you exclude 98% of the market opportunity. So we abandon minimums, no minimum monthly fees, no minimum investment amount, no minimums anywhere. And so now you create an access point that democratizes the access. 100 Rand investor gets to be able to invest 99 Rand 35 cents. And so the transaction cost doesn't disrupt what the person's trying to do, which is create wealth. This, I'd love to say that we've solved this with foresight, but one of the things that we learned by running our game and understanding what the friction points were for the consumer was that the shares they were going to buy were the shares that they loved, the shares that they spent time consuming, Facebook, Twitter, Discovery, Amazon, Naspers. The problem with those shares is they are unaffordable to the masses. How do you solve that? You can't write to Koos Becker and ask him to do a share split to make his shares affordable to South Africans. And so what we did is we fractionalized that access point. And so today South Africans can buy 1/10,000th of a share, not just locally, but abroad too. Think about Berkshire Hathaway. Who doesn't want to invest like Warren Buffett? $150,000 for one share. You can now invest as little as $1. The problem with solving those two areas was that we were solving a problem for only 20% of the market opportunity. Only 20% of people living in South Africa know what shares they want to buy. The other 80% live in places where they can't have conversations with advisors or asset managers. They can't access those products and services. And so we had to solve for that problem too. What we created there was a product called Bundles and Baskets, where asset managers publish their share portfolios on our platform, and you get to consume them, 1 Rand, 10 Rand, 100 Rand, those portfolios. You purchase them in exactly the same way that you would purchase a share, and those portfolios go into your account. You get to see the moves of every asset manager. So every time he buys or sells a share inside your portfolio, you see it live. And that empowers you to educate yourself and understand what's going on. We had to change the user interface to make it friendly and fun and engaging, conversational. We changed the aspects to have less influence around red and green and charts and graphs, but to focus on brand recognition because that's what people understand. We don't ask people how many shares they want to buy because they don't know what the share prices are. We talk to them in what they do understand. How much money do you have to invest? And then we do the fractionalization in the background. We encourage people to share their experiences on Facebook and Twitter. This is an example of someone sharing their share purchase of Adcock Ingram on Twitter, and this is happening. Thousands of people are doing it every day. Why? Because if we can get inside your social networks, and if you are someone who knows something about shares, then people can stand behind every move. That's how we grow the marketplace and turn it into an exponential opportunity. We also tell you things about our community. So people who buy Adcock Ingram also buy these shares. And so for a single share transaction turns into multiple share transactions. So we do a little bit of what Amazon does as well. This is the solution that I was talking about in Bundles and Baskets. And so here's the portfolio presented by an asset manager, the asset allocation, the performance of that over the most recent past 1, 3, 5 years. And you get to see what's inside before you buy. The asset management industry today, don't know any of you that can question your asset manager, say, look, I'd really like to invest, but just tell me, what's inside. The millennial opportunity of today doesn't buy anything unless there's transparent access for the consumer so they can build their understanding and education along the way. How do we grow it? How do we make sure that this exponential opportunity comes to life? We partner stockbrokers, banks, and ETF issuers. Satrix is our biggest partner, and that's a great example of an asset manager, passive asset manager working with a platform provider where 1 and 1 becomes 22. We're talking to banks and other stockbrokers to take our transactional platform to them so that they can encourage and grow this new investment opportunity. But you can't just do it with platforms because those are lines of code that get replicated and one day someone will find out how you do it. You need to empower people, not just the people that work with us, but the people that are our customers. We need to give them, we need to make them brave enough so that they're not scared to, they're brave enough to fail so that they might succeed. We place purpose over profit as an organization, and we put culture of our organization ahead of strategy. There is no strategy document that I've ever written that is more powerful than the people within my organization. And so we focus attention on ensuring that we build that. But is it working? We're 3 years old. We've got 83,000 accounts. From those 83,000 users, clients, we've got over 200,000 accounts. So they can have a US stockbroking account, a tax-free savings account, and a traditional stockbroking account. We've just launched US shares. And so we've democratized access not only to South Africa, but to the world. We've increased retail stockbroking in South Africa by 20%. We're not proud about the fact that there are less women doing this than men. And so we've got strategies dedicated to growing female participation, because guess what? They end up with the assets. We've saved South Africans in 3 years over 100 million rand in transaction fees. The total value invested on our platform, which you can't see there, is 1.5 billion rand. Compound that 100 million rand saving over the lifetime of an investor, 30, 40, and 50 years. It's the difference between retiring, wealthy, or not at all. Our demographic is unique. We've got, our average age is 32 on the platform. The fastest growing age groups are 25 to 30. Within the next 18 months, our average age will be below 30, which means that our customers are 2 to 3 decades younger than our competitors. 44% of our customers come as a referral, and so they like what we're doing. And finally, I'm done, but while I'm taking questions, you can watch a little bit about what we look like.
We've just made investing for everyone. If you found your last Facebook post, Amazon purchase, or Uber ride an easy, enjoyable, and rewarding user experience, then you're going to love everything about EasyEquities. You won't find a cheaper or friendlier place to invest in the shares you love. No minimum trade commissions, no monthly account fees, and no unnecessary data costs. So more of your money gets invested in the equities you love. Importantly, size doesn't matter. Your size of investment is our size to service. That means you invest as little or as much as you can afford in the shares you love. Build a portfolio of stocks without a suitcase of money and get started right away. Easy, affordable, secure equity investing for everyone. Quite frankly, it's share investing just made easy.
Charles, can I ask the first question? Yeah, well done. First of all, I think it's a great I'm a venture capitalist. I love people to solve problems, and I think you're solving, a significant problem.
Thank you.
One of the challenges in a B2C environment, I'm not talking about your channels here for a second, is cost of customer acquisition, because it's highly, highly capital intensive. What is your retention rate, your churn rates, and your acquisition cost?
Yeah, great question. So acquisition cost is under 100 Rand, which is unbelievable in our industry. With foresight, we didn't have any. With hindsight, it's easy to understand. Nobody wants these customers. Nobody is interested in 25 to 35-year-olds who've got 100 Rand to invest because they can't make money. So the acquisition cost is really low. It needed to be to make this platform work. Retention rates are off the charts. I can name probably less than 5 customers that have left in the next 3 years. So more people are arriving, and there's no one leaving. Our engagement rates are crazy. So people log onto the platform once every 3 days. So you get a chance to speak to your customers and understand how they're feeling, what they're doing, what they think of the markets, how's the platform experience. And so we have this, we have a conversation with them literally one every 3 days. The other thing is that because we're a digital business that's very active in the social space, client complaints happen on Twitter. And so you have to deal with that stuff in real time, online, all the time. And so from one, engagement, but two, from keeping them, there's no way for us to hide our attributes. Our worst parts of us are on our Twitter profile. And so you've got, if you solve all that stuff, then you keep people happy and in the ecosystem. The other thing that really, long answer for a short question, but the other thing that really I think sets us apart is we don't build stuff that we think our customers want. A good example of that is I've been against crypto in this space because I think it's a trading instrument, not an investment instrument. But I'm over that because these 25 to 35-year-olds are putting 50% of their money in crypto and 50% in my stuff. And so I'd rather understand what they're doing with it and modify that behavior if I think I need to. So in December, we launched Crypto Wallet on the platform, and you'll be able to buy Bitcoin, and we'll secure it and make it a safe place for you to keep it. It's not a trading access, it's an investment access. And so it's just an example. We don't build stuff that we think they need. They tell us what they want. US share is a great example. Mobile app now, next 3-4 months. RAs on the platform as of 1st November. Unit Trust, which, why do you need Unit Trust? It's because the world's in Unit Trust. So Unit Trust launch next week. And those aren't things we dreamt up. Those are things our customers said, listen, if you do this, this, and this, then we'll arrive more frequently, do more things with you.
Great, thank you.
Charles, great presentation. Thank you. Can we talk a little bit about financial literacy 2.0?
Yeah.
Because I think that now you're democratizing access to the markets. There's kind of an educational element that might come in there in terms of how you help people to identify and understand the risks that they're taking. I think that the bundles idea and being able to follow what other traders are doing is good. But it'd be kind of interesting to hear your view on what the future is.
I think I got the same question last year, and I think I was rude in the response. I'm not going to be rude to you in this instance.
Thank you.
And the simple reason is that is how, that is how the industry thinks about shares and investing. Like, we have to protect you from doing this stuff, and you have to write a test before you buy your first share. Really. Come on. They walk into a shop, they'll consume 1,000 Rand of a product that is worth nothing the time they walk out of it. So we don't worry about that as much as we worry about starting with small amounts of money. So typically that's our money. So the first 50 Rands on us. And the minute you're inside the ecosystem, there is lots of education happen. So we buy institutional grade research, we repackage it as easy. We do webinars and seminars online. We've got a YouTube channel. We've got blogs and podcasts. We host national roadshows, so the guys go out and see our customers. What else do we do in the educational space? We've got a demo platform, and we run games and give away prizes and for good investment behavior, so for diversification, profits, not selling things too soon, all that kind of stuff. What else do we do in the educational space? Further to that, there are places that we've got an online university where we've got sort of a Wikipedia of Investing 101, and then you can test yourself to see what you understand. And then you can lock out platform attributes that you're not ready for. So, for example, a tax-free savings account where you can only buy ETFs is the lowest level of access because their diversification is catered to, you're not buying single asset exposure. If you fail the test on sort of single stock exposure, then we can shut down the access to a stockbroking account, and so on. So education is a key part of how we grow the community, but we're not doing it in the traditional way that says, listen, you can't come in until you've educated yourself, because then no one comes in. And you've got to do it in 15-minute bite-sized TED Talk kind of ways that people are prepared to download and listen to. Not say, listen, spend 3 hours on this and learn your way to 101. So a big part of what we do, but not in the traditional way that it's done.
Charles, congrats again.
Thank you.
I think since last year's performance to this year, I think it's been stellar. And you guys continue to grow and show that this is a much needed service in the market. Just tell us more about your recent institutional partner and the tie-up with EasyEquities and what the plans are for the business going forward in terms of growth and where you see it heading.
Yeah, so Sanlam took a 30% stake for 100 million Rand of growth capital, so that all stayed in the business. That money at a high level is split the following way. 20% is for our first market entry internationally, which will be Australia. Try and keep that in the room. No, I'm joking. So market access there is nice and easy, and it opens up 6 Asian markets for us because you get passported into those markets, which is very cool. And there's an affinity between Australian and South Africans, which we can connect with. So that's where sort of 20% goes. The other 80% is split 60-40. 40% is on acquisition, so marketing and acquisition here in South Africa to grow a retail base. As an example of that, we just launched a campaign. The money had hardly settled, and we've just launched a campaign on 5FM. It's running over their birthday month. We're giving South Africans 50 Rand if they register as a result of that campaign.
We have to wrap it up.
Sorry, just to give you an example, that's delivering 1,000 customers a day. The other 40% is all about dev. So it's about delivering our mobile aspirations and platforms that integrate, like robo-advice, guided architectures, whole lot of other stuff.
Thank
Cool.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.